My daughter-in-law, the woman I welcomed into my home after my wife's death, quietly entered my bedroom while I was supposedly at my doctor's appointment. She opened my late wife's jewelry box, took out the sapphire necklace that had been in my family for 4 generations, and slipped it into her purse. I watched it all on my phone, live footage streaming from the hidden camera I'd installed 3 days earlier. What she did next made my blood run cold. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is, where you are now. The Arizona sun blazed outside my window as I sat in my car in the medical center parking lot. I'd left early, told Derek and Vanessa I had a 10:00 a.m. appointment that would take most of the morning. The appointment was real, but it ended at 9:45. I didn't go home. Instead, I sat in my car and opened the security app on my phone. I'm Harold Mercer, 65 years old, 31 years with the FBI, most of them in the financial crimes unit. I've tracked money through shell companies in 12 countries. I've followed paper trails that criminals thought were invisible. I've put away embezzlers, Ponzi schemers, and corporate fraudsters who believed they were smarter than everyone else. They weren't smarter than me. Nobody ever was. My wife Eleanor died 18 months ago, pancreatic cancer fast and merciless. We'd been married 42 years. After she passed, I rattled around our Scottsdale house alone, grief making the rooms feel twice as large. When my son Derek suggested he and his wife Vanessa move in to help me through the transition, I agreed. I thought it would ease the loneliness. Derek is my only child, 41 years old, works in pharmaceutical sales, travels constantly. Vanessa is 38, doesn't work, claims she's building an online business that never seems to generate income. They'd been married 8 years, no children, always seemed to struggle financially despite Derek's decent salary. For 16 months, they lived in my home. Vanessa cooked occasionally. Derek mowed the lawn when he remembered. Mostly, they occupied the guest wing, ran up my utility bills, and treated my house like a free hotel. I didn't mind. I was lonely. Having family around helped, even family that took more than they gave. Then small things started disappearing. Eleanor's reading glasses, the ones with the tortoise shell frame she'd worn for 30 years. I thought I'd misplaced them. Her cashmere cardigan from the hall closet. Maybe I donated it by accident during one of my cleaning binges. The silver picture frame from our anniversary trip to Venice. Perhaps I'd moved it and forgotten. I'm 65, not senile. But I let myself believe the explanations because the alternative was unthinkable. 3 weeks ago, I went to retrieve Eleanor's engagement ring from the jewelry box in my bedroom. I decided to have it cleaned, maybe reset the stone in a new band for my granddaughter when Derek and Vanessa eventually had children. The ring wasn't there. I searched for 2 hours. I emptied every drawer, checked every pocket of every jacket in my closet, looked in places it couldn't possibly be. Nothing. That ring was a 1.4 carat diamond that my father bought in 1958. He gave it to me when I proposed to Eleanor in 1981. It represented 3 generations of love and commitment. Its insurance value was $28,000, but its real worth was immeasurable. That night, I lay awake and let myself think what I'd been avoiding. The glasses, the cardigan, the picture frame, the ring. A pattern emerged, and patterns don't lie. Someone in my house was stealing from me. I didn't confront anyone. Confrontation is for amateurs. Instead, I did what I'd done for 3 decades. I investigated. The next morning, I drove to an electronics store in Mesa, 30 miles from home, where nobody would recognize me. I paid cash for 3 wireless cameras smaller than golf balls. That afternoon, while Derek was traveling and Vanessa was at her yoga class, I installed them. One in the master bedroom, one in my home office, one in the hallway outside the guest wing. All feeding to a secure cloud account only I could access. Then I waited. Patience is the investigator's greatest tool. Criminals always make mistakes. You just have to be watching when they do. 3 days later, Vanessa made hers. I sat in my car watching my phone screen as she walked into my bedroom at 3 a.m. She moved with confidence, no hesitation, clearly not her first time. She went straight to Eleanor's jewelry box, opened it, and began sorting through the contents with practiced fingers. The sapphire necklace caught her eye. She held it up to the light, admiring how it sparkled. Then she dropped it into her oversized purse. But she wasn't finished. She reached deeper into the jewelry box and pulled out Eleanor's pearl earrings, the ones she'd worn on our wedding day. Into the purse they went. Then she moved to my dresser. She opened the top drawer, reached under my socks, and found the envelope I kept there. Cash for emergencies, about $3, and she counted it quickly, took half, and replaced the envelope exactly as she'd found it. She'd done this before, many times, probably. Taking a little here, a little there, amounts I might not notice immediately. Classic embezzlement technique. I'd seen it 100 times in my career. I watched her leave my bedroom and walk down the hallway. The anger I felt was cold, not hot, controlled. I'd learned long ago that emotion clouds judgment. What I needed now was evidence, documentation, and a strategy. I drove home 2 hours later, acting normal. Vanessa greeted me from the kitchen, asked about my appointment, offered to make lunch. I smiled, thanked her, said I'd eaten at the clinic. I looked at her face, searching for guilt, shame, anything. There was nothing, just the pleasant mask she always wore. The beautiful daughter, in-law concerned about her aging father, in-law's health. She was good, but I was better. That evening, Derek came home from his business trip. We had dinner together, the three of us sitting at Eleanor's dining table using Eleanor's china. Vanessa served pasta she'd made, and Derek talked about his sales numbers, and I nodded along while mentally cataloging every item that might be missing from my home. How long have you been stealing from me? I wanted to ask. How much have you taken? Does my son know? But I said nothing. I watched. I waited. I planned. Over the following week, I conducted a complete inventory of my possessions. I started with Eleanor's jewelry, comparing what remained against the insurance documentation I'd filed years ago. The engagement ring gone. A diamond tennis bracelet gone. 3 pairs of gold earrings gone. The sapphire necklace and pearl earrings I'd watched Vanessa take. Total insurance value of missing jewelry. $67,000. I moved to my office. In my desk I kept bearer bonds my father had given me. Old-fashioned paper securities that belonged to whoever possessed them. 6 bonds at 5,000 and each should have been in the locked drawer. I found 2. A 20,000 gone. Cash from various hiding spots totaled another 8,000 missing. I documented everything with photographs, written descriptions, timestamps. I pulled bank statements, credit card records, anything that might show where the money went. Old habits from the bureau never die. The trail led exactly where I expected. Vanessa's online shopping accounts showed purchases far beyond what Derek's salary could support. Designer handbags, luxury skincare, jewelry. Ironically, she'd been funding a lifestyle with my family's legacy. But one discovery stopped me cold. Derek's bank account showed regular deposits from Vanessa. Small amounts, 200 here, 500 there, always in cash, he knew. My son knew his wife was stealing from me and he was taking a cut. I sat with that knowledge for a long time. My son, the boy I'd raised, the man I'd put through college and helped buy his first car, was complicit in robbing me. He'd sat at my table, eaten my food, slept under my roof, and helped his wife pilot my dead wife's belongings. The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd experienced in 31 years of dealing with criminals. Those were strangers. This was my blood. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my office, lights off, listening to the house settle around me. Around 2:00 a.m. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Vanessa, moving toward the kitchen for water. She passed my office door without knowing I sat 6 feet away in the darkness. I could have confronted her then, demanded answers, thrown them both out in the middle of the night. Instead, I let her pass because confrontation wasn't enough. I wanted consequences. Real consequences, the kind that would follow them for the rest of their lives. By morning, I had a plan. I'd spent my career putting criminals in prison, but prison wasn't always the most effective punishment. Sometimes the law offered tools that hurt worse than bars. Civil penalties, public records, financial ruin, reputational destruction. Derek and Vanessa had underestimated me. They saw a grieving widower, an old man past his prime, easy to manipulate and easier to rob. They'd made the same mistake every criminal I'd ever caught had made. They assumed I wouldn't fight back. I found Margaret Chen through my former colleague at the Bureau's Phoenix field office. She was a civil attorney who specialized in family disputes and asset recovery, known for being ruthless and meticulous. We met at her office in downtown Phoenix, a sleek space on the 15th floor overlooking the mountains. I laid out everything: the video footage, the inventory documentation, the financial records showing the money trail, the bank statements proving Derek's involvement. She reviewed each piece silently, occasionally making notes on a yellow legal pad. After 20 minutes, she looked up. "This is exceptional work, Mr. Mercer. You've built a prosecutable case. I was an investigator for 31 years. Old habits." She smiled slightly. "Then you understand what I'm about to propose. We have multiple options here. Criminal charges are viable: grand theft, conspiracy, potentially elder abuse given your age and their position of trust. But I'd recommend a different approach first." "I'm listening." "Civil action combined with estate restructuring." She stood and walked to a whiteboard mounted on her wall. "First, we modify your will and trust documents. Arizona allows complete testamentary freedom. You can disinherit anyone for any reason. We leave them each $1, legally sufficient to prevent claims of oversight and redirect your estate elsewhere." She drew connecting lines on the board. "Second, we file a civil suit for conversion and theft. Your evidence exceeds the preponderance standard easily. The judgment becomes public record, follows them permanently, affects their credit, their employment prospects, everything. And third, eviction. No lease means they're month-to-month tenants. 30 days notice under Arizona law. By the time they understand what's happening, they'll be facing legal action on 3 fronts with nowhere to live." I nodded slowly. The plan was elegant, surgical, exactly what I'd envisioned, but refined by legal expertise. "What about criminal prosecution?" I asked. "We can pursue that afterward once the civil case establishes their liability." "A civil judgment makes the criminal case much stronger. The DA is more likely to prosecute when there's already a finding of fact." Margaret returned to her desk. "There's one more consideration. Your son is involved. These actions will destroy your relationship with him permanently. Are you prepared for that?" I thought about Derek as a child learning to ride a bicycle in our driveway. Derek graduating high school, college, getting married. Derek suggesting he move in to help me after Eleanor died. Then I thought about the bank statements, the cash deposits, his knowing smile at dinner while his wife wore my dead wife's pearls. "He made his choice," I said. "Now I'm making mine." Margaret nodded once. "Then we begin." The documents arrived within a week. I reviewed every clause, every citation, every legal reference. The new will directed my entire estate. The house valued at $890,000. Investments totaling $650,000, savings of $240,000 to establish the Eleanor Mercer Memorial Scholarship Fund at Arizona State University, providing financial aid to first-generation college students, the legacy Eleanor would have wanted. Derek and Vanessa Mercer would each receive one. The notarization took place at a bank in Tempe, far from anyone who might recognize me. 2 witnesses I'd never met. A notary who verified my identity, asked the required questions about mental competence and voluntary action, then applied her seal with a satisfying press. The eviction notices came next. I signed them at Margaret's office. 2 copies, certified mail delivery. We discussed timing. "Don't serve the eviction immediately," Margaret advised. "Let them discover the will change first. When they're reeling from losing their inheritance, we hit them with the eviction and the civil suit simultaneously. Maximum psychological impact." "You think like an investigator," I said. "I think like someone who wins." I drove home with the documents secured in my briefcase. The original will went into a safety deposit box at my bank. Copies went to Margaret's office and a second attorney as backup. At home, Vanessa had prepared dinner, some chicken dish she'd found online. Derek was already seated, scrolling through his phone, barely looking up when I entered. "How was your day, Dad?" he asked absently. "Productive," I said. "Very productive." We ate in comfortable silence. Vanessa mentioned she was thinking of redecorating the guest wing, maybe new curtains and a fresh paint color. Derek nodded along, apparently unconcerned about spending my money to improve my property that they occupied for free. I smiled and agreed it might look nice. "Let them plan." Let them dream. Let them believe everything was fine. The trap was set. Now I just had to spring it. Margaret orchestrated the reveal with precision. She arranged to have coffee at a Scottsdale cafe, where Vanessa frequently worked on her laptop building her imaginary online business. A folder containing a copy of my new will sat visible on the table during Margaret's staged meeting with a fictional client. When Margaret stepped away to order another drink, the folder remained exposed. Vanessa noticed. She photographed each page with her phone, hands trembling, eyes darting around the cafe. That evening, I was reading in my office when Derek burst through the door. Phone in hand, face flushed crimson. "What is this? $1. You're leaving us nothing." I removed my reading glasses calmly. "That appears to be a photograph of a private legal document. How did you obtain it?" "That doesn't matter. You can't do this." "I can do whatever I want with my estate, Derek. It's mine, just like everything else in this house. Everything you and your wife have been stealing." His face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." I reached into my desk drawer and removed a USB drive. 4 weeks of video footage. Every time Vanessa entered my bedroom and took something, every item she slipped into her purse. Timestamp dated clear as day. Derek stared at the drive like it was a snake. "I also have bank records," I continued. "The cash deposits she's been making into your account. You knew, Derek. You knew and you participated." "Dad, I can explain." "Explain what?" "That you watched your wife steal your dead mother's jewelry and took a percentage. That you've been robbing me while living in my home." Vanessa appeared in the doorway, face strewn with tears. "Mr. Mercer, please. We can work this out. I'll return everything." I stood and handed them each an envelope, 30-day eviction notices. "You have until the 15th to vacate my property." Derek's hands shook as he read. "You can't do this. We're family. You stopped being my family when you stole from me." I held up the USB drive. "This evidence goes to the police tomorrow. Margaret Chen is filing a civil suit Monday morning. Whatever you can't return, you'll pay back through court judgment, and the criminal charges will follow." Vanessa collapsed against the doorframe, sobbing. Derek just stood there, mouth opening and closing, no words coming out. I sat back down at my desk. "I suggest you start packing." The following weeks unfolded exactly as Margaret predicted. Derek hired a chief attorney named Wilson, who filed a desperate challenge to my will, claiming diminished mental capacity. The challenge collapsed in a single hearing when I presented evaluations from 3 independent physicians confirming perfect cognitive function. The civil suit proceeded inexorably. Discovery revealed the full extent of their theft: 67,000 in jewelry, though 20,000 in bearer bonds, 8,000 in cash. Vanessa had pawned several pieces, sold others to online buyers. We traced each transaction, documented each sale. Derek and Vanessa's marriage fractured under the pressure. She blamed him for convincing her to move into my house in the first place. He blamed her for being sloppy, for taking too much too fast. I heard them arguing through the walls at night, voices raised, accusations flying. The eviction deadline arrived on a Tuesday. I watched from my office window as they loaded boxes into a rental truck. Vanessa wouldn't look at the house. Derek paused at the front door, keys in hand, something like regret flickering across his face. Then he dropped the keys on the porch and walked away without looking back. I changed the locks that afternoon, installed a new alarm system the next day. My house was mine again. The civil trial lasted 3 days. The evidence was overwhelming. Judge Martinez found in my favor on every count and awarded 95,000 in damages plus 28,000 in attorney fees. Derek and Vanessa were jointly liable. The judgment would follow them for 20 years, affecting their credit, their employment prospects, their entire financial future. Outside the courthouse, Margaret asked if I wanted to pursue criminal charges. I considered it. A felony conviction would mean potential prison time for both of them. Public humiliation, permanent criminal records. Yes, I said, actions have consequences. The criminal case moved quickly with the civil judgment already established. The district attorney charged both with theft and conspiracy. Derek tried to blame everything on Vanessa. Vanessa tried to claim Derek had coerced her. Neither defense held up. In the end, they both pleaded guilty to reduced charges, 18 months probation each, 200 hours of community service, restitution payments for the next decade. Felony records that would appear on every background check for the rest of their lives. I attended the sentencing hearing, sat in the gallery, and watched my son stand before the judge and admit under oath that he had stolen from his father. His voice broke when he said the words. I almost felt something. Almost. After it was over, Derek approached me in the courthouse lobby. His suit was wrinkled. He'd lost weight. He looked like a man who'd aged 10 years and 6 months. Dad, he started, voice cracking. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything, but I'm sorry. Vanessa and we were in debt. We didn't know what else to do and stop. I held up my hand. You had 100 other options. You could have asked for help. You could have been honest about your situation. Instead, you chose to steal your mother's jewelry while she was barely cold in her grave. He flinched like I'd struck him. I loved your mother for 42 years. I kept every piece of jewelry I ever gave her because it reminded me of her. And you took it. You and your wife pawned her memory for cash. Derek's eyes filled with tears. I know. I looked at my son, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. The boy I'd raised was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Maybe someday, I said slowly, there might be room for something between us. But not now. Not for a very long time. You need to understand that what you did wasn't just theft. It was betrayal, and some things can't be easily forgiven. I walked past him out of the courthouse into the Arizona sunshine. I didn't look back. That was 3 months ago. I'm sitting on my patio now, early morning, coffee in hand. The desert stretches out beyond my backyard, mountains purple in the distance. The house is quiet. The house is mine. Last week, I retrieved Eleanor's remaining jewelry from my safety deposit box. The pieces Vanessa hadn't managed to steal. I had them cleaned, appraised, properly stored. The engagement ring was gone forever, pawned for $800 at a shop in Mesa. But the diamond pendant I gave Eleanor on our 25th anniversary was safe. She wore it every day for 17 years. I wear it now on a chain around my neck close to my heart, a reminder of what matters and what doesn't. Derek sent a letter last month, handwritten, 8 pages long. An apology, an explanation, a plea for reconciliation. I read it once. I haven't responded. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. Some decisions don't need to be made immediately. The scholarship fund launched last semester. 4 students received Eleanor Mercer Memorial Scholarships for their first year at ASU. I met them at an orientation event. Young people from families like Eleanor's. Families where nobody had gone to college before. They reminded me why I'd spent 31 years chasing justice. Legacy isn't what you leave to your family. It's what you leave to the world. I finish my coffee and check my watch. 8:15. The morning is still young. I have a volunteer meeting at 10:00, helping review financial aid applications. This afternoon, I might drive up to Sedona, watch the sunset from one of the overlooks Eleanor loved. The house is quiet now, but it's not lonely anymore. It's peaceful. The difference took me 65 years to understand. I protected what was mine, not with anger or violence, but with patience and precision, and the law I served my entire career. Some people think justice is about punishment. It isn't. Justice is about consequences, making sure that actions have outcomes, that choices matter, that you can't steal someone's legacy and walk away unchanged. Derek and Vanessa learned that lesson. It cost them everything. I pick up Eleanor's photograph from the patio table. She's smiling in the picture taken on our trip to Italy 10 years ago. She would have hated what Derek became, but she would have understood what I did about it. I smile back at her, set down the picture, and start my day. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. To listen to the next story, click on the video appearing on your screen. Thank you for watching.